Red light means go, baby.
Red means go.
In this situation, red means go.
Got it.
All right, guys, welcome to this week's YAWA. We have some really cool announcements, a little bit of chitter chatter about the cool stuff that's going on here, and then we're going to get to some of your questions.
Yes. So if you guys have been following us on social media as well as our YouTube channel, if you don't, you can hit that subscribe button so that you now follow us. You will have seen that we actually just made a trip out to New York to visit Bob Owens with Lone Duck and got to do some pretty cool stuff with him while we were out there.
Yeah, first of all, they're in central New York, which I was kind of explained is kind of on the line of a big New York change in scenery, more or less. The trees changed, the fields changed, it's kind of more rolling and different, everything else. And it was very, very pretty country. I'm a huge fan of traveling, and it's a lot of fun to be able to see the differences and things that you take for granted. People come out here and they go, wow, there's so much openness and green grass fields and all of these things. And you go, yeah, it's Kansas. I mean, it's where we live. And then you go someplace else and, you know, like when we go out to Montana, it's big rolling hills, it's just grass. There's virtually no trees or very, very few. And you go, wow, this is beautiful country. And the people are like, yeah, it's Montana. You know, I mean, it's just one of those things. And it was cool to go see that. It's always fun to see different parts of the United States. Definitely.
As well as we got to see a little bit different training than we work with on a daily basis with the, pointing breeds.
Yes.
And yes, we work with some retrievers, but not to the level that we got to see out there, which is why we are super excited about our new little lab puppy.
Yeah, on average, I would say the labs that come in with us are pretty basic stuff. It's like, hey, can you get my lab to retrieve and be obedient and
flush
some birds and the stuff that we got to see, as well as I got the opportunity to handle. If you don't follow us on Instagram, we did an Instagram live showing where Bob actually handed off Memphis to me, which is one of his finished females, and said, all right, try and handle her to these blinds. And by try and handle her, it was more like try not screw this up, because if you do it even remotely right, she's going to handle this. And we did essentially 200-ish yard. And then we did one that was just shy of 300-yard blind. And then a real easy one to finish out that was like
100
yards. And to say that 100-yard blind is real easy is saying something, because
she made it look easy.
She made it look easy.
And it was cool because it gave us another perspective on, Ethan's handling this dog to blinds with casts and
which
things
is something
like that.
I don't have a ton of experience in.
Right. And Bob did a great job telling him when to blow the whistle, what he was supposed to be doing, which gave us a definite different perspective for us when we send dogs home from training, because we were essentially handling a dog that we don't really know what we're doing. Ethan doesn't know what he's doing.
And the dog doesn't know me.
Yep.
And
it was cool to see, okay, why should I be doing this? Oh, blow the whistle like you mean it. Got it. Things like that. And those are the same type of things that we work with our clients with when they come and pick up a dog that has been in for training. And we're like, oh, nope, you need to say it this way, or you need to do a little leash pressure this way, or just subtle things that you don't always think about because it almost becomes second nature for us. And It was a cool perspective to be on the other side of that coin.
Which Kat and I are always trying to learn. We're always trying to improve what we're doing. And being able to experience that firsthand gives us an idea on how we can better help our customers and our training clients on taking the extra time and pushing you all to understand the importance of coming and picking up your dog and making sure you've scheduled enough time that we can help that transition to be easy to you.
Yes, definitely. So, and it also got us super pumped up and excited about what we could potentially be able to do with this little black lab puppy that we've got. Obviously, like not next week, but in the future, training goals. So we're really excited about that as well.
So coming up, we have a video coming out with how to fly with a puppy. Something that we talk about a lot, and especially with our puppy buyers, is that we don't ship dogs. I'm not a huge fan of shipping dogs. And on occasion, we will ship an adult dog because it's a different level of being able to handle the stress and the things that go along with that. But for the most part, you got to come pick up your puppy. And the questions that come up with is, how do we do this?
We're from Pennsylvania. Yes. We're from California. That's going to be a 20-hour drive. And we say, well, you could fly. And they're like, really? It's almost like a thought that doesn't occur to people.
Because they don't want to put the puppy in the plane. Well, you don't put the puppy in the plane. You actually carry them on as if they were your personal item. And having that puts the puppy in a drastically less stressful environment. I mean, it's a few hours. It's our total flight time from the time we got to the airport and the time we were out done with everything, I think was less than 7 hours.
Oh, definitely less than that.
6.5 hours maybe, which ultimately is a fairly long crate time for a little puppy, but it was pickup day kind of deal. You know, it is a little bit stressful, just that travel to a new environment, a new situation, but he pretty much slept the entire time.
Yes. And when we were in the plane, he really didn't make a peep. I mean, he chilled out and slept. And if I needed to put my hand in the crate and just give him a little pet, say, hey, I'm here, buddy, he was completely fine. So it is going to be coming out the day after this video comes out. So make sure that you're watching for it because it's going to be a very cool thing to see, as well as informative if this is something that you're interested in doing as well.
Then we're going to be moving right into a full series with him. Now, this series is going to look a little bit different than Sprig's series, and the reason is he's a different dog, different personality. He is an American lab, bred lab versus a British bred lab, and there's going to be differences in that. The other side of it is we're going to try and fill in the gaps that we maybe missed with Sprig's series. Now, we're going to start his first training introduction video with, we're going to need some help to give him a name.
Yes. And we're going to definitely ask for that. We're definitely going to ask for that in his...
Start thinking now. Those are words that are better.
We're definitely going to be asking for name suggestions in that video, which we'll be shooting here today, but it won't be posted today.
It's essentially covering the first 24 hours that we've had him here at Standing Stone Kennels.
Yes. So lots of really excited things coming up with another puppy series. So stay tuned for that. And like I said, if you don't subscribe and have notifications turned on, do that so you don't miss these videos.
Absolutely.
Let's answer a question from Scott McLeod. Hey guys, I have a question for you. It would seem like obtaining a puppy in the spring would be the best time in terms of training them when the weather has broken, especially if where you're living in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Woo woo, UP. Ooh.
Is there any benefit at all to picking up your puppy in the fall if you live where I do? So this is a good question.
Is there any benefit of picking it up in the fall? Is that what that was the end part of that?
Yes.
Okay.
You got so excited about the UP that you didn't listen to the rest of the question.
No, I was just like, I wonder where in the UP lives instantly.
So the question was basically about timing of picking up a puppy. Is springtime the best, especially if you live somewhere with cold climates? I'm sure the UP gets lots and lots and lots and lots of snow.
Yeah, we know this. We have some friends up there, so we've heard all of the complaints.
Yes. And would there be a benefit of getting a puppy in the fall? So this is a really good question about timing, about getting a puppy. Sure, there's things that you can consider as far as like climate goes and things like that. Bringing home a puppy, let's say you're getting a puppy from us, bringing home a puppy that's been raised in Kansas and it's January in the UP, I would say your biggest struggle is going to be potty training.
Yeah, snow on the ground. Puppy doesn't want to stand outside, squat, and touch its hoo-hoo to the ice.
Yeah, it's going to be cold. It's going to be uncomfortable. They're not going to want to spend enough time outside.
You're not going to want to stand outside with them to spend enough time to make sure that they do it.
Yes. So definitely those are for sure things to consider, as well as, you know, if you're getting a puppy in the fall and winter's right around the corner, you're going to have to wait for some of those things like water introductions because we want to set our puppies up for success, and doing a water introduction when there is almost to the point of ice forming on the water isn't going to be a great idea. So
let's face it. The only time the water is really warm enough up there is like a couple of days maybe even just a couple of hours in the middle of August or something, right when the summer, like 1 week of the summer has had time to warm that water up enough before August 15th turns off to the first snowstorm.
We actually went in May, and I have to share this story because it was shocking, literally.
Literally, yeah.
So we went in May to visit some friends up in the UP, and this was the first time that we'd had the opportunity to sauna. Now, if you're from anywhere other than the UP, you probably refer to this as a sauna, sitting in a hot box, sweating your butt off, and it's referred to as a sauna up there. And
correct us if we pronounce that wrong still yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got it right. But we would sit in there, and then they had right out the door a dock to the lake. So this
is an interesting thing. There were cabins all around this little lake, right? And every single one of them had their little sauna sitting there with a quick walk to the dock that you could run and jump in and cool off in the lake and then go back and then sweat your balls off again.
Yeah. So we were like, yeah, this will be fun. We're up for that. So
when in Rome, right?
Yeah. So we sat in the sauna for a while, got really hot and sweaty. And then it's like, okay, let's go jump in the lake. So we did. And oh my gosh, that was a total shock to the system.
First of all, we were just sitting in a room that's like, 180 degrees, give or take?
Hot.
And then we go and jump in the water, because we were in May. The ice had just left last week, and the water had to have been 37 degrees.
I think it was maybe like 50.
Yeah, it was
cold.
Even 50-degree water is pretty chilly.
It's very chilly, especially coming from 180 or whatever we were sitting in. So we ran off the dock, jumped in. I come up out, and they're like, oh my gosh, there was blood gushing down my face from a nosebleed. This is the
first and only nosebleed that she's had in her entire life.
I've never, ever, ever had a nosebleed before or since, and it was all due to the shock of that heat change difference. So it was very shocking, like I said, kind of an experience, but we digress. What I wanted to explain, though, is that type of water introduction would be pretty tough on a puppy, and they're not going to be super comfortable with that. So we definitely want to consider what our goals are with the puppy. And if you do happen to get a puppy and timing just works out that you're getting a puppy in the fall and winter's right around the corner for you, you're into cold weather, cool weather, just be patient. Holding off on that water introduction until the spring or summer or whenever your water warms up enough isn't going to make or break your dog's water instinct. What's going to make or break your dog's water instinct is getting impatient and saying, well, you're 4 months old. I got to get you in the water now or you're never going to love the water. And then you do it in a shocking type of way that your puppy's like, that wasn't fun. Don't want to do that again.
You create a traumatic situation in that impression stage.
Yeah. And so definitely making sure that you're just patient and say, hey, we're going to wait until the water warms up. Work on other things like building bumper drive, building retrieve desire. Those are all things that you can do on land. Those are all things that you can do even inside. And then, like we mentioned, the biggest thing you're probably going to struggle with is just that potty training side of things.
Yeah, I would say overall, depending on exactly what happens, I mean, if you bring that puppy home right in the middle of hunting season, it's 8 weeks old, you're not going to be able to get a lot of experience. But if you're later, once hunting season's already over, that's still considered winter. If you're early enough to where the puppy can get through some of those basics, like a bird and gunfire introduction, and you take them out kind of one-on-one or with your one other older dog, and you keep those situations, don't take them out in front of 10 guns and say, hey, good luck. But if it's just you and a buddy and you are conscious of where the puppy's at, you can start to incorporate wild bird experience even with that young puppy. A lot of people say things like, oh, they've got to be a year old before we can do any of this, or they've got to be. It's more important to have the prerequisites, which
we've actually talked about in one of our other videos, like the must-haves before you take your dog hunting. So we'll put a little linky here for that video because it's a good one.
It is a good one, and it would cover, if your dog has those things, they're ready to go, and they need the experience. The faster they get that experience, the faster they can mature into the dog that you ultimately want to hunt with.
Yeah, but if you think about it and you get a puppy in the spring, you've got all summer, early fall to prep them as well, and then you should be able to take them hunting that first season. And most likely, if you've done your homework, done your groundwork, done all the basics, that fall of their first season is going to be maybe a little more productive than if you get a puppy very early on in the fall that you've barely gotten the prerequisites taken care of, and then you're taking them out just to get them a little experience and a little exposure. But again, just be patient either way and make sure your dog is really actually ready for what you want to be trying to do with them.
Absolutely. And all the way around, I would say you probably are best off to try and get a puppy, in the spring.
Just based on where you're at. But, we can't always control Mother Nature and timing on things. And if you're on a specific litter that doesn't get born until August, they're not going home until October.
Yeah, I wouldn't pass on the right combination of dog for you. Just because you're going to be set back, quote unquote,
a few
couple
months.
Yeah.
Just be patient. And then, like I said, work on the things that you can work on early on. So
absolutely.
Great question. Next question that I want to answer is, where did it go? Okay, this is a good one about teaching old dogs new tricks. This is from Eddie Brock. I'm not sure if when you're taking he was just asking if he can send me a YAWA question this way. I said yes, because I'm answering it. I have a 13.
Speaking of how to get your YAWA questions out, we are taking primarily questions from YouTube comments. So if you're watching this and you spark a little question in your mind, throw it in the comments below here, and we'll be doing our best to answer those for you.
Yes. So I have a 13-year-old puggle who has not had any obedience training other than sit.
Puggle. What is that combination?
A pug and poodle, maybe?
Wouldn't that be a poo? That
puddle?
wouldn't be just a poodle. It'd be a puggle.
Producer, Google that.
Oh, let's look.
So doesn't have any obedience other than sitting for a snack. When somebody rings the doorbell.
It's a crossbreed between a beagle and a pug.
There we go.
Puggle.
When somebody rings the doorbell.
Cute. Look at that.
Oh, they are really cute. I expected bigger ears.
I bet some of them do.
Yeah. Anyway, when somebody rings the doorbell, she goes crazy barking and running to the door. I'm getting a Vizsla in 7 weeks. Congratulations. And I don't want him to pick up any of these sloppy habits, as he will be training through your recommendations and video series. Awesome. Really great things to follow along with when you're working with your new puppy. What steps do I need to make sure the negative behavior isn't passed on to the new puppy? So this is a really good question. And I think a lot of people actually have this question or feel like they're going to struggle with this. They say, I don't want my new puppy picking up all these bad habits that my older dog has. And I want to
maybe didn't necessarily have the same expectations for.
Or know that I was creating bad habits, or, that things were, not getting conditioned properly. And they don't want to make mistakes with their new dog, but they also need to be able to have expectations for both. So this is a good question. And if your puggle already knows how to sit for a snack, you can continue, and they're food motivated, you can continue training other proper behaviors before you get your Vizsla with clicker training. So the series that you're talking about following along with our puppies, you can apply those same behaviors, those same expectations to your older dog. Now, can you teach an older dog new tricks? Of course. It just usually takes longer because she's had 13 years to be conditioned to her ways of barking like crazy and running to the door when people come over. So some of these naughty habits are very, 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 add a few more varies, ingrained in her at this point. So you want to make sure that you're able to teach all the basics using that positive reinforcement and clicker training. One of the main ones that I would highly recommend is place training, which is going to be a huge help for you, not only when you have those people ringing the doorbell coming over, but also going to help when you bring your new puppy home, that transition of them being at the house and not necessarily needing everybody running all over like crazy. You can hold your puggle and then start working on these same obedience things with your new Vizsla to the same expectation of, hey, we need a kennel, we need to settle down, we're not bouncing around the house, we're not barking our heads off. So start with basics, clicker training, and then even with your puggle, you can call or condition those behaviors after you have a firm understanding so that she doesn't just want to sit or kennel when you have a treat or a snack in your hand. She will do those behaviors even when you don't, and you can condition them with the e-collar and what would be negative reinforcement training.
Yeah, and it'll be a good warm-up. You've started to incorporate those things, teaching a dog that doesn't necessarily know how to do them, and you're better prepared for your new puppy.
Definitely. So really good question there. Hopefully that helps.
Hey guys, that's all we have time for part one. We're going to take a short break here, and then we'll be back with you very soon.